as you guys know, we talked about this in yesterday's morning report. Janelle decided to go ahead and ship her son, Jace, off to live with his father, Andrew, who is a person that he doesn't really know. Andrew bounced on Jace pretty much immediately after his birth. He wasn't even very active throughout Janelle's pregnancy. Barbara tried to get Andrew involved in Jace's life, but Andrew decided to ghost them, stand them up in New York City when all of that was happening. And so Janelle decided that with all the issues that she's having with Jace and whatnot, that the best idea would be to not only ship him to live with somebody that he doesn't know, right? His biological father that he doesn't know, but she also did not create some sort of a buffer to attempt to make this go smoothly for Jace, right? So Jace has been very open on social media about feeling unloved and, he doesn't have a place, to call home, like a place in the world or anything like that. And so she decided to further prove that to him or show him or make him feel that by shipping him to his deadbeat father's house all alone. She didn't even accompany him on the flight to go check out the house to see if it's a safe place for her alleged son to stay in, to have a conversation, to come up with a game plan with the father, literally nothing. She just said, here, get on that flight, get out of my life and leave me alone. And I still find that to be incredibly cold. So she caught a lot of heat for it, and she decided to speak out on TikTok about it, and I've got the video for you, so take a look at it. If you're watching me live, feel free to leave all of your thoughts and your opinions about this in the live chat. I'll be flashing them across the screen. And if you're part of my playback posse watching the playback, feel free to leave all of your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll definitely be there to respond to you guys as well, okay? And if you're enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. So here's Janelle trying to defend her actions when it comes to abandoning her son yet again.
So there are lots of things circulating around on the internet, and I need to talk about it. Not like it's anyone's business, but recently I sent my 15-year-old son to live with his father in Florida. Now, a lot of people are asking, why couldn't you handle him? Why would you do that? He had one incident and then you just ship him off. That is not what happened. My son has been dealing with mental health disorders since he's been 10 years old. He was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 10, and most recently in 2023, he was also diagnosed with major depressive disorder, along with his ADHD and defiant disorder, ODD. Incidents started occurring with my son when he was 10 years old. My whole family knew this. It was a family secret, and we try to keep the privacy of my son. Now, I'm not going to go into detail what those incidences were, but it was pretty bad. A lot of people are like, he's been running away from your home as soon as he got there. That's not the case either. He's been doing this since he's been 10. I got custody because my mother couldn't handle it anymore, because she was in a bad, dangerous situation herself. So things were getting so bad back in 2023. Once I got custody, CPS got involved. Once CPS got involved, they thought things were crazy in the household, just like everyone else thinks. But really, what came down to it, 3 months later, after my son was with CPS, they sent him to his aunt's house by marriage, which is David's sister. And he acted out there. At this point, he acted out at every single household he went to. So CPS threw their hands up, dropped the case, and said, let's just give him to his mother, let her handle it. So once again, I got him back. Once my separation started, I wanted to get away from all the negativity, the fear, the pain, the anxiety, the chaos that has been caused by my ex-husband this whole time. So I was like, let's get these kids a fresh start. We're going to Vegas. And things will be good for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then another incident. And it's just like, with defiant disorder, it's very hard to deal with. Kids act out on purpose because they want attention. They have no remorse. They have no empathy for what they did. And if you look it up on TikTok, ODD, you can find out more information about it. Since moving to Vegas, I've had my best friend, Tori. She saw his behavior. I've had my ex August, he saw his behavior. Everybody saw his behavior behind closed doors. It's just we never wanted to put it in front of the media and explain it because it was Jace's privacy. Now we get to the point where it's happened too many times, multiple incidences for years and years and years, and something had to be done. So yeah, I called his dad. I said, hey, I need help. I was in a panic attack. I was crying my eyes out. And I was like, for once, I need your help. And I need you to help take over this situation, because all of us have put forth effort into as much as we can give. We've tried everything we could. I've tried, getting placement in boys' homes, but they are just too expensive and insurance won't cover it. So right now he needs to be in a situation where both households are safe, and separating the chaos from the situation right now to protect my 2 younger kids is very important, and also to protect himself. I feel like when you're co-parenting, if both sides of the family can come together to help solve these issues before they turn into adult and really get themselves in trouble, it's just really important. So I put all the drama aside and said, let's just do this. Jace is now staying with his father, but also his grandmother on his other side, who he has not seen since he's been a baby. So really, you guys are looking at it as a negative situation, but everyone behind closed doors is looking at it as a positive thing for him. So you guys can say all you want. You can say I'm not taking care of my kids. Being a mother is doing the best interest for your child. And I am doing the best interest for my child. Thank you.
So there you have it. Janelle is doing the best interest for her child, whatever that means, right? And I guess in this case, it means that she is putting out all of his medical diagnoses. She's blaming him. She's yet again saying she needs to protect her children from him. She has, shipped him halfway across the country, unaccompanied. She hasn't even gone to see the place where the child is going to be staying. She hasn't spoken in person to the other person that the child is going to be staying with. The whole thing is absolutely nuts, right? And I see a lot of you guys, like Acacia, we're saying the exact same thing, which is, why is this information out there? She should not be, and she does this every single time that she gets dragged for mistreating her child, right? Every single time she has to make a video, throw him under the bus, and act like she is the victim in all of this, right? And so, right, she didn't have time to accompany her child, but what does she have time to do? She's got time to go travel to Arizona. She has time to go hang out with the other teen mom girls. She has time and money to do everything but to properly take care of this child. And Melena asked a very great question, which is, okay, she says that it's too expensive to put him in a specialized place to help treat, whatever issues he might have. But what about the money that he made on the show? Jace was born on that show. Jace made money on that show, right? So what about that money? You would think that some of the budget, right? Some of the money made from that show would have been put aside for Jace, right? Like Tyrell says, MTV paid the parents and they were supposed to put the money in a trust. We heard about some shady things going down with this. For example, when Aaliyah was a full-blown rug addict, what did she do? She had taken her daughter's money out of the trust. And I think it was Allie's in particular. It was in a CD or something like that. And Corey accused her of using that to go and buy some rugs, right? But then she denied it. She said that she just wanted to move it to a higher interest account or something like that. But I do think that she went and used that money on rugs personally, right? K Minor saying the same thing. Why tell us this information? Per usual, there she is, right? Throwing her child under the bus to save herself. Like Kayla says, she always has to make herself the victim in anything that happens with her child. And Gwen raised a really good point, which is that she never mentioned if she allowed Jace to go back onto his medication, right? Because a big issue that Jace was having was when he was stripped from Barbara's place and given back to Janelle. This was a time when she was still with David and living with David and everything. Jace was running away. And one of the issues that Barbara had and mentioned publicly was that David did not want for Jace to be on his medication for whatever he needed medication for, right? And so Janelle, she sided with her husband. She took the child off the medication that he had been on for many, many years. And that led to a lot of the outbursts and the running away, and, the issues that we had seen over the past year or two, right? And so, like Gwen said, she never mentioned whether or not she put him back onto that medication, right? Very, very alarming stuff. And a lot of people were dragging her in the comment section of that video. And I wanted to share some of the comments with you guys, okay? Someone says, you gave him PTSD for life. Someone told Janelle that she needed to take some kind of accountability for the way that Jace grew up. And then Janelle's response was, well, he didn't grow up in my house, let's be honest. Well, that is the problem, Janelle. You were so terrible as a parent that your child could not grow up with you. He had to be stripped of your custody. This is not the defense that you think it is. That's part of the problem, right? He had to experience such hardship from being raised by you that you got stripped of his custody. So that is where your blame lies, right? Other people had said you and your mom caused his issues, the years of fighting in front of him, dragging him into your arguments. He needs lots of therapy, patience, and love. And I completely agree with that. Barbara's not innocent in this. She tried, yes. However, she was very immature as well, especially given the age that she was when she took over the care of Jace. She did not ever do anything to really diffuse the screaming in front of the child. She would often scream with this child in her hands as well. There were moments where she threw Jace under the bus in front of Janelle, for example, gun gate and everything. Like, she was not an angel, right? Jamie says, sending him to live with somebody he barely knows, probably not the answer. And she responds by saying that's his family, laughing emojis. Listen, family and blood, but he does not know those people. The point still stands. And she's just so dismissive. It has always felt like people who watch the show or people who are on the internet care more about the safety and the well-being and, the emotional development of her child than she does. And she's not really doing too much to dispute those allegations, right? These laughing emojis. This is not funny. You're the only one laughing. And that's a little bit alarming considering this is your child, right? And I agree with Nigel as well. Kaiser grew up in her house and he has behavioral issues, and she sent him to Doris last year and only got him back because of the backlash, right? So clearly there's something, you're at fault here. Like, it's just, oh God. Anyway, some more comments that came across included this one. Man, he's still a child. I couldn't imagine my mom telling the entire world what I was doing as a teenager. Michelle said, you got custody because your mom couldn't handle him. He's your child, Janelle, right? Someone said, imagine being 16 and hearing your mom talk about you like this. I wonder why. Like, people were really, truly laying into her over there on TikTok, as they should have been, right? Because again, here she is trying to play victim, not taking any kind of accountability for what happened. She's truly does not understand that the child not growing up in her house is her fault, right? And here she goes saying it again, right? Oh, be real. He acts like that because of the family life he had and didn't grow. Well, that is part of the issue. Why was my mom such a deadbeat that I couldn't grow up with her? Why was my mom constantly in and out of my life? Why is my mom constantly putting men in front of me when she could be raising me? She's running around with men. Like, what's not clicking, Janelle? I really think this woman is like remedial, because what is this? How does everybody see it but her, right? Someone else asked, but Andrew was never involved. How are you trusting this? Which is a great question. And so she says, but he's at his grandma's, not Andrew. Well, that's the thing. Andrew lives with the grandma. The grandma wasn't involved this entire time either. So like, you change the goalpost, you change the name of the person, but the principle still applies, which is that you shipped your child to a different state to go and live with people that he does not know. And you could not even be bothered to board that plane with him, calm his fears, ease his anxieties, to have like one dinner or a lunch or something together so that the transition could be smooth for him. You couldn't do that. No, instead, while he's out there traveling alone, trying to figure everything out, you're over here on TikTok throwing him under the bus, publicizing his mental health diagnoses, calling him a problem child, saying that there's nowhere, that he can get along with anybody. You said everybody's seen his behavior behind the scenes. My best friend Tori has seen it. My ex, everybody has seen it, right? But here's your problem. You're talking about how you moved to Vegas to have a new fresh start with the kids, like focus on the kids. Yet you already have this ex-boyfriend who was living with you and your child, which was further contributing to the issues. And she just does not see that. And it's just so mind-blowing to me. I do not understand this woman at all. I think she's bat-ish crazy. Truly, truly, like beyond, right? And the way that she still feels comfortable showing her face, speaking about all of this as if she's the victim, as if she has nothing to do with these problems, is just, it really goes to show you just how out of whack whatever she's got going on up here is, right? Because a normal person would have some kind of shame, right? About the way that they have treated this child, would take some sort of accountability for the role that they played, a very extreme role that they played in, in where their child is today. Cindy said, she said, for once I need his help because she never had him before, right? Exactly. Good point. Good point, Janelle. Oof, and every time you hear something from this lady, it's crazier than the last, right? Because one of the last stories I did about Janelle was when she was bullying Nathan's latest victim, right? His new ex-girlfriend, Anastasia. They're going through this DV thing. He strangled her the way he strangles every woman, right? And Janelle has been attacking this woman. I think she leaked her number online, telling people to harass her. She was saying that this woman is bragging about DV. She says that she, when I got strangled by Nathan, I didn't go to the gym. I was in bed in pain, like this sort of stuff, right? Like the girl is just so unwell. She's a lost cause. I don't even have anything else that I could say about this person. You know what? And I agree with Jace. Every time I see this girl's face, what do I think of Jace? Jace saying, Mommy and David are pieces of ish, spits. And whenever I see, I just want to spit, like with disgust, like, ew, just get out of my face. Ew, God.